Hey fam, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another recap of Welcome to Plathville, Season 4, Episode 3, Missed Myself. And I almost missed myself too, because I forgot that I needed to come up here and record. And as you can see, we're in the middle of a wash day and me trying to figure out what I'm about to do next with my hair. Anyways, that's not what you're here for. You're here for the recap. Let's jump into it. So we were originally told that Ethan got Micah to come to Tampa for Thanksgiving dinner as a surprise to his sister, like to spend the holidays with them, to kind of uplift Mariah's spirits. But we're told this episode that Micah really came not just to see her, but to do this whole road trip and see various family members along the way. So as he is supposed to be returning to LA, Mariah decides that she's going to ride back with him and hang out in LA for a little bit, even though he doesn't have a place in LA. I personally could not do it. They seem to be very spontaneous people. That is not me. That's not how I flow. I'm very much so a planner. And that can be seen as a gift or a curse. For them, they're young, so it's okay for them to just hop around. They also don't have as many responsibilities, right? So, as I said, Micah doesn't have a place to live in LA. He has been couch surfing since he got there because, as he points out, apartments and homes are a lot more expensive. It's not cheap out there. Mariah is perfectly okay with him not having a place. She's even willing to camp as long as she has some type of access to a bathroom. So he calls his friend Hayden to see if they can stay with him. Hayden says, of course, but I'm not at my house. I guess he was house sitting for his aunt. So he was there and he's like, I'll send you the address. That wouldn't be me. I would have had to have known how long you plan to be there, just because in previous years, I had what was supposed to be a friend stay over for a week, and it turned into like 2 months of them staying there. And I basically had to kind of threaten to get the law involved because I felt like they were taking advantage of my kindness. But that's a whole nother story. Maybe I'll do a story time one day. I was in my 20s when that happened. So they meet up with Hayden at his aunt's house and they hang out with some of his friends. Micah used to be embarrassed about how he grew up, and now he's just proud of, the way that they grew up. She lets them know that she's only going to be there for a few days. She's working on some music and it's going to be released while she's there. She tells them the song is called I Miss Me. At first, I thought it was about Max, but she says that she wrote it 2 years ago when her family was treating her like crap. I'm adding the like crap part. She said when she was going through difficulties with her family. And now here she is ready to record it. And it just so happens to coincide with her struggling with Max. I'm listening to Mariah talk and I put in my notes, Mariah always sounds like she's on the verge of tears when she speaks to us. I feel sorry for her. She says she's depressed, but before she even said it, I was like, I think she's depressed. The subject of dating comes up in everybody's dating status. For the most part, everyone's single. It gets to Mariah and they're like, are you single? And she says, I guess. Mariah, you know you are single, honey. You broke up with him. You said you deserve better, but I get it because she's young and she struggles to talk about some of those things, especially coming from the family that she was in. The guys get that she's not ready to talk and they kind of just leave it alone, which she's appreciative of. We then find out that Max did not want her to have male friends because he was jealous. It would never work for me. I have a lot of male friends. When I say I have a lot of male friends, I mean I have a lot of male friends. I think I have more male friends than female friends. And it's not intentional. It just happened that way. I think that you have to be comfortable and trust your partner. Like one of my best friends, Giovanni, I've known Giovanni since I was 16 years old. And he's not going anywhere and neither am I. And if a man thought, any man that I date would ever think that he would be going somewhere, me and that man wouldn't be going anywhere. Because at this point, he's literally family. Like, My son looks at him like he's an uncle. My mom calls him her son. Like, he's not going anywhere. But let's keep going. So this is the first time she's being able to hang out with guys and not have to worry about Max. It makes it sound like their relationship was a lot more unhealthy than we realize. She's enjoying her time, yet she is crying as she tells us that she feels guilty about being happy because at this point it's been 3 months and she still finds herself being extremely sad, just as sad as she was when it first started. Kim, you not crap. You ain't sugar honey iced tea, baby, because all that time that Kimberly was at home with her children, she stunted them. These kids have not learned how to process their feelings. They do not know how to self-regulate, and I hate that for them. We see it even with Ethan, like it's a constant problem, and it's unhealthy. So she says that she's learned to appreciate people not asking hard questions because that's when she struggles the most, which for her, a hard question is about her and Max. So the next day we see Micah and Mariah go out. They're sitting by the water and they're talking about Max. She tells him that she isn't okay, that she does have a lot of doubts about her decision, yet she later then talks about all the negative stuff that he said. I want her to stop with the doubts and tap back into the negativity and the lies and things of that nature to remind herself she chose right in choosing herself. He, we find out, ended up telling her that he lied. That even though Micah gave him an opportunity to tell the truth, and even though she did as well, that he cheated on her more than he even said. Now, she said he told her that she cheated on him with what she wore. Did he really say that? Do y'all think he really said that? You cheated on me by what you wore? Or is that a fabrication on Mariah's part? Because we do know that Mariah lies too. So she said she gave Max everything just for him to cheat on her. And that's the problem. I don't think anyone should ever give someone their all. I'm saying show up 100% yourself, but it should not be to the point where you feel depleted. And what she's sounding like to me sounds like she feels depleted. She then lets him know that after Max met up with him, that he called her to let her know he lied, that it was more than a kiss. But she didn't say how much more it was. I want to know if he got some cookie, because what else was there? Micah is upset because he had a feeling. He said he had a feeling he wasn't being truthful, and he's lost respect for him. But as Google a Monster pointed out in the comments, Micah's not really in any position to judge Max because Micah ended up being a liar and a cheater too. So I get it. You're her big brother and you want to protect her, but let her figure out this situation for herself. So she says that she is feeling much better than she was at first, that this trip is her reset, and her song is going to be released within a matter of days. So back in Tampa, Ethan is complaining about how his sister doesn't do any chores. To be fair, I haven't really seen him done any either. You working on your car or something around the house doesn't count as chores when there's other things like sweeping and washing dishes and stuff to be done, especially considering that you don't work and the other two are working. So he's getting antsy. He's not working. He has been without his precious babies for a few months, and he's ready to return to Cairo to work on them. On top of all of that, he still hasn't told Olivia about his big secret, which is that when they were separated, he purchased yet another car, a 1950 two-door Pontiac Fastback. How long were they separated? Because when did he get time to purchase a car? I'm confused. So even though he tells her there is no place for him to work on his cars there, she tells us that she did previously suggest some things, like them building something in their current backyard, and he doesn't want to do that because they're renting. She also suggested him calling body shops, and he didn't want to do that either. To be fair, most people aren't going to allow you to work in their shops for free. They're going to want something in turn. So I get his apprehension on that. But at the same point, I guess it wouldn't have hurt to try just to see. He feels like even the things that she suggested doesn't make sense, that it would be cheaper to just go to Cairo 2 weeks at a time to work on cars. I don't understand how it makes sense to go somewhere 2 weeks at a time? Where will you be staying? And why don't you just get a job? These passion projects that he picks up seem to be never ending. Because even with him getting another car, I'm sure he has to work on that too, because he didn't drive any cars there. I think they just drove Olivia's car. So Olivia isn't feeling the thought of him going to Cairo for 2 weeks at a time. She's making this more so about her feelings and not his. She's worried that this is just another example of him checking out, of him hiding things, and of him going back and forgetting all of the bad that's associated with that place and him wanting to go back there. To be fair, I think that she felt there was more bad there than he was. That is where he grew up. Y'all had problems with his mother and his father. He didn't have problems with Cairo itself. He left because of you. Now, he put it under another guise, but he left to try to save his marriage, and because of you. He may have had issues with his mom, and over time they escalated even more, but I don't really think Ethan would have left if she hadn't have mentioned it in the first place. Y'all tell me what you think. So she tells him, for right now, can we just put a pin in it? I said Olivia didn't want that man near his family. I get that, but it doesn't make it right that she's trying to prevent him or suggesting he shouldn't go. But 2 weeks at a time is just too much. Like, if you want to go a weekend here and there, okay. 2 weeks at a time, I can see why she would have a problem with that. So Olivia is working on a wedding. Mariah was supposed to come, but she told her don't worry about it since she was using the trip as her escape. Olivia feels honored to be shooting for the couple that she's shooting for, because in the past, this isn't something that she would do based on what she was taught, because this is a same-sex marriage couple. And she says that she just wants to honor them and she wants to serve them the way she would anyone else, because they have a right to be with whom they want and love who they want. And I agree. Lead in love. The rest, it's none of your business. So she goes later on to LA, and she meets up with Micah and Mariah and his friends at the beach. Micah is just glad that at this point his sister is not being a Debbie Downer, that she's excited. When Mariah sees Olivia, she runs over to her, and Olivia knows, like, wait a second, she's a lot happier than she was before. So they release her song and they play it on Bluetooth, and all of the people around are very impressed and supportive. It was cute. I don't see it hitting the radio, but it was cute. I just couldn't believe that Olivia came all the way to LA to just hit the button on the thing to release it. Just goes to show you how supportive she is, or how production requested this of her. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. All right, let's go to the whole point of this episode. So back in Cairo, we got Kimberly and Barry, and they're still struggling. It's to the point now where Lydia can see it. She says that things appear to be normal, but her mom is barely there, so she knows it's not normal. I don't think that her mom makes it any better by the crap that she did in this episode. So Kim met a Jamaican man by the name of Nigel at the gym. She was being all extra, laughing at something she was watching while she was on the treadmill, and he noticed. And there started their beautiful friendship. Now, Kim invites Nigel over to the house to make our traditional dish. I have mixed feelings about this, because do you always invite people that you meet over to your home to make dishes for you? Or is it just because he's not American that you decided to do that? I don't know. But anyways, so she apparently talks about Nigel all the time. And now they could put, her words, a face to the name and to the biceps. I just was like, Kim wanted to get a rise out of Barry. And Barry was jealous at certain points, but it was so awkward to me, okay? So Kim talks about this man. I said, like, he's a piece of meat. I didn't like it. I also didn't like all the gym talk. He's not a trainer. He's just a man that likes to work out. Like, could we figure out a little bit more of his backstory rather than his workout routine? So he's introduced to Barry and the kids, and he tells us she is warm, friendly, nice, and easy to talk to. The moment that I heard him say vegetables, I smiled. Because in my household, it's never been vegetables. it's always been vegetables. So when I heard him say vegetables, I was like, yeah, he's not lying. He's a yachty. Okay. So he's cooking, right? And he's trying to make small talk, and they're just standing around watching. I didn't really like that. Like, I thought they were going to be cooking with him instead of standing all around him, but he seemed to be okay with it. So he decides to make curry chicken, rice and peas and cabbage. Now he's using kidney beans in his. I personally make mine with the gungo peas. I don't even know how to describe a gungo pea. It's kind of like a greenish brownish color. They're smaller. It tastes better to me. Now, some people like the kidney. I don't really like the kidney beans in it. I'll eat it, but I'm gonna give me the gungo anytime, right? So he's making it with the gungo peas. He is asked like to compare the two places. He said that Cairo is a slow pace. People aren't really out and about. Where in Jamaica, you see people, you hear music, which is true. But I think that with anywhere, it depends on where you're at, because there are country parts of Jamaica too that are quieter, you know. Barry quickly changes the subject to his gym routine because he's checking out Nigel's arms. We find out that Nigel works out every day. Sounds like my daddy. And some of the kids are struggling as he's talking, like Amber, to understand what it was that he was saying. And I was looking like he's not even speaking to raw child. Like he's not even speaking any patois. But I get it a little bit. Not really. But Lydia seemed to understand most of what he was saying. Kim lets us know that Barry only works like 5 minutes a day. It's like, girl, you like, this is a man you married. So Isaac says, yeah, his father works 5 minutes and he spends most of the time on the vibrating machine in the gym. So they sit down to eat. The food is delicious. Everybody loves it. Lydia points out how her and her mother used to be very close, but they haven't talked in several months. And she can see that there are things going on that her mother isn't talking about. They don't even sit down and talk a lot as a family or sit down and eat a lot as a family. She's saying that Nigel being there and cooking for them is the first time that they've sat down as a family and ate together in a long time. And it just shows, like, Kim, you can sit down and make time for your family to introduce this man that you met at the gym, but you can't sit down and make time for your family just to make time for your family. I think it's wrong. I think that Kim liked to put a lot of stuff on Barry, but Kim is no better. Anyways, so Lydia says one of the reasons why they don't spend as much time together is because now Isaac and her father work, and her mother is spending a lot of time in the studio, showing yet again that Kim puts herself first, because you still have kids that need you. So it's a new day. Kim is so focused on her studio with no students that she doesn't even have time to go grocery shopping. So we see Barry pull up from finishing grocery shopping, and he pulls out things that apparently TLC had an opportunity to even black out with the tape. So this is very much so, let's film this scene for the sake of talking about how things are going on. Barry is thinking that things aren't as bad as Kim is thinking. He says that he thought that they were operating at like a 6, and Kim doesn't think that. He feels like he didn't win her heart in the beginning, that he didn't take time to date her. And I'm just wondering why she didn't have a problem with this until now. I think that things change with age and time, and there are certain expectations, and I can understand that part of it. But I feel like there's things that Kim was lacking into. So he's trying to do all these things to get her back, but I think that Kim already was done. I think that Kim was already checked out. He said he even got her the studio to show her that he valued her and he wanted to support her. But even that isn't working, because what the studio has done is given her an even more of an excuse to be out of the home. She continues to be absent even more than before. We are then told that she has recently moved out of their bedroom and she's sleeping on the couch. he says that, he can try all he wants to try, but he doesn't feel an effort on her end. And I feel like it's because she wasn't giving him any. And that's basically the episode. I think that Kim told him she wanted him to be more present, or she was leaving. He became more present. I think that Kim wanted that studio, or she was going to like figure it out on her own, and he made sure he did that. And I think that Kim wanted him to change some stuff that he did around the house, and he did that. But what did Kim do other than pull away further from him and then eventually leave? This is the beginning of them ending. And a part of me is reminded of why sometimes I found myself feeling bad for Barry. But Barry isn't innocent either, because they created this environment for their kids. I don't care about what they got going on for themselves. It's about these kids. And I find it to be very problematic that she is taking it upon herself to disconnect from her children, to be selfish at a time when they need her the most. They're young. They're still in school. Some of them are teenagers. Some of them are going into adulthood. You don't get to check out. That's just my opinion. You guys tell me yours. Please like the video as it helps the channel. Hype me up if you can too, because that helps as well. Until next time, peace.